I'm Neil, and I'm the teacher.
And I'm Sean, and I'm the deal maker.
Together, we're the Rise Guys.
One agent lost everything. $125,000 fine, license canceled, career over. And here is the scary part. The regulators are just getting started. Today, I'm going to show you exactly who they are hunting and how to make sure it is never you. Let me start with the case that should make every agent in this country sit up straight. June of 2025, the British Columbia Financial Services Agency, the regulator out west, hands down a ruling against a licensed agent for a conflict of interest. The penalty was $125,000, and it did not stop there. They canceled the license. Not a suspension, not a warning, a full cancellation. The career was over. Think about that for a second. One conflict of interest, one breach of the duty. You owe your client, and everything that person built was gone. This is not a story from a decade ago. This is recent, and it is part of a much bigger pattern that you need to understand. How did we get here? This did not happen overnight. It built. In November of 2024, the Real Estate Institute of Canada put out a call for reform, a signal that change was coming. Then in January of 2025, the regulator out west took disciplinary action over undue pressure on a client. By April of 2025, the crackdowns on misleading advertising were in full swing. Then it went systemic. July of 2025 brought formal guidelines on artificial intelligence risks. June of 2025 delivered those conflict of interest penalties we just talked about. And in February of 2026, the Federal Competition Bureau expanded its investigation into the whole industry. From late 2024 to today, the pressure has gone from a warning to a full court press. The regulators are watching, and they are acting fast. Now, this next one is the big one, and it's different from everything else. In February of 2026, the Federal Competition Bureau expanded its scrutiny of the structural mechanics of Canadian real estate. They are looking at commission rules, at competitive practices, and at the ethics of how agents cooperate with one another. Here's why this matters so much. The disciplinary cases we talked about target individual agents who did something wrong. This is not that. This is a systemic audit. The Bureau is asking whether the compensation mechanisms in our industry protect consumers or exploit them. That is a question aimed at the entire structure of how we get paid. If you cannot clearly justify the services you provide for your commission, you are now squarely in the spotlight. So why is all of this happening right now? A big part of the answer is the market. We are in a depressed market, and that creates a pressure cooker. When transaction volume is down and money is tight, agents feel real financial stress. At the same time, you have factors like aging populations creating more vulnerable clients who need protecting. Put those together, and you get a dangerous environment. Financial strain raises the temptation to cut a corner, to apply a little pressure, to relieve that stress with a deal that should not happen. The Real Estate Institute of Canada warned about exactly this back in October of 2025, pointing out that market downturns escalate financial pressure and also drive failures in money laundering compliance. The regulators know the pressure is on. That is precisely why they are watching harder than ever. And the $125,000 case is not an outlier. In January of 2025, an agent was fined $10,000 and lost their license for applying undue pressure on a vulnerable client. In April of 2025, here at home, the Real Estate Council of Alberta sanctioned an agent for misrepresenting property data. This is a pattern, and it is hitting agents in real ways. Now, let me connect this to technology, because this is where a lot of people are going to get caught. Artificial intelligence does not shift your legal liability 1 inch. If you let an algorithm generate a false or misleading claim and you post it on social media, you are the one who pays the penalty. The regulator flagged exactly this back in April of 2025. So if your artificial intelligence tool saves you 10 minutes, but then needs an hour of manual fact checking to keep you compliant, it is a false economy. The responsibility for accuracy is always yours. So let me leave you with the way to actually think about all of this. Treat compliance as a return on investment calculation, because when you do, the math is obvious. Misconduct carries a negative return. The probability of a devastating fine far outweighs the commission you might earn by cutting a corner. Ignoring commission transparency to avoid an awkward conversation today just invites federal scrutiny tomorrow and destroys the public trust your whole business depends on. So here is your scorecard. First, limit artificial intelligence to drafting. Never use it as your source of factual research. Second, verify property data manually every single time, no matter how much time the shortcut would save. And third, if you are a veteran, overhaul your client onboarding so that commission transparency comes first, not last. Ethical rigor is not the soft option. In this market, with these regulators, it is the highest return defensive strategy there is. It is how you survive. That is the show for this week. I will see you in the next one. New webinar summary every week. Subscribe so you never miss one.